Hey guys, THUNDERSTUD here. We're doing another post-Banlist Elemental Sabers revisit. You maybe saw my video with Doriato. Now we're using actual Elemental Lords as our boss monsters. This is something I used to do pretty consistently when they were brand new, about 10 months ago, almost a year ago. And you just try out all the different Elemental Lords. There are a few. We do have Fire, who does some damage. Don't generally use him. Wind is probably one of the better ones. Wind Rose, when you special summon it, you destroy all spell and trap cards your opponent controls. Phosphorage is probably the best, where if you summon him with all light, he will destroy all monsters. Then we have Grand Soil, who will special summon a monster. I already talked about the Fire. I don't really know of any others, so we probably have a few more Elemental Lords waiting. But for now, we're using our boys here. Or there is a Dark Elemental Lord, but he returns something to your hand. It's a search from your hand. Not as good as these boys. Destroy all spells, destroy all monsters, and they are searchable by Makani. You can discard one Elemental Saber monster to the graveyard, add one Saber or Lord from your deck to your hand. So, a little more consistent than our Doriato. Monsters aren't as cool as Doriato in my opinion, but they're very dynamic in that they will affect your opponent's board as soon as they're out, so that's pretty useful. All we've really done from the Doriato version is gone for more elemental training over, I think it was a Super Rush Headlong I had in that deck, because elemental training is even more important, filling up your graveyard and getting your Makinis out to search your elemental lords and actually get all these plays off. So they seem pretty fine. They didn't need invoked, obviously. They're still a potent archetype that can get you wins. People will probably find it boring because it's much more of a control deck. You really got to work much harder to get your boss monsters out as opposed to an invoked version. But it still plays. You're still beating top tier decks, so it's definitely still good. If you guys were a fan of Sabers and not just invoked, still a very viable deck. Treacherous still in there. You never really see it. Like, people aren't really destroying your elemental training. They might Cosmic Cyclone it, but that's not going to lock up your Treacherous. So Treacherous is still the better choice. And in a version like this, Malo becomes even more effective because he's a 2-tier graveyard instead of a 1-tier graveyard. That goes a long way with getting the 5 to get your boys out. That is one advantage these boys have, is they only take 5 of a certain, while Doriato takes 6, but Doriato uses both graveyards. So, you know, there's give and take. You gotta just really try and see what you like. E-Lords, their biggest advantage is they're searchable, so it works out pretty well. Still a viable archetype, even after the ban list. Still alive. People will probably be a little salty and not play them regardless. But I like E-Sabers, even without invoked, so I hope you guys enjoy, and thanks for watching. Alright, here we are facing Dapper Mokuba. Going first. He's using, that's a Plasmus and a Sphere Boy. I've seen a lot of Sphere Boy mats lately, it's pretty weird. So we got a Palace, Makani, Molehu to start us off, training to make it work. We're going to start with Makani. Look at this play, guys. Throw away a Lapa, search our Phosphorage. Very good start to the duel. We get to set our training. We're fighting Thunder Dragons. So he mills a duo, milling a whole bunch with Solar Recharge. Gets to banish 2. Bring out a duo. That triggers Roar. Roar brings out Dark. He hasn't used his normal summon yet, so he normal summons Betrayer. It gives him a Dark Search. Searches another Roar, because he does in fact already have his Dragon Hawk. Dragon Hawk brings out Roar. Pretty potent field, but we're going to be able to stop it with training. Training brings out Molehu. Molehu chains his effect. Flips down the duo, all in the battle phase. These boys can't get over him at 2500. Palace is such a strong card, guys. Then we normal summon Molehu again. Use Molehu again. That's 4 in our graveyard. Flip that boy face down. Now we're going to train away that Molehu. Bring out the Malo. Malo's gonna not use his effect. We're just changing everything to light. Light. That brings out Elemental Lord Phosphorage. Destroy the whole field. That triggers Roar, who brings out a Hawk. But at 2100 and 1900... we have exactly lethal. He throws everything away, trying to get that Sphere Boy. Does not work. Finish him for exact lethal. Great stuff, guys. Alright, here we are facing a Zane Truesdale. See what that boy's got first. We're going first. Showing him my monster cards. We got Makini and Molo with a Palace, so that's a really fast way to get to an Elemental Lord. We're gonna mill 2 from the deck with our Molo. Set our Treacherous. He's already at 2100s. Pretty good versus Cyber Dragons. Here he's gonna Cosmic Cyclone. Tries to go with the Palace. He will learn that was a mistake eventually, but it does slow us down as we can't search with our Makani. Now, Cybernetic Fusion support. Cyber Style, he's at 1500. He's going with Cybernetic, or what is that, Overload Fusion? Cyberload Fusion. So he's going with Cyberload Fusion, brings out a Rampage. He aims at the Treacherous, but clearly we can chain it, destroying both his monsters and stopping his turns. Now, he did have an Overload, so he will have at least one instance of destruction. We top deck another Palace, guys. That means Malo's able to mill. That's 5 in our graveyard. Normal summon Makani. Makani cannot mill because you can only use Elemental Lords once. So, I thought he was going to make the right play and use this Overflow to destroy Makani. He does not. That means we can use Elemental Lord's Search, get a Molehue, throw away that Molehue with our Makani. That searches our Windrose. Now Windrose, just got to get a bunch of wind in our graveyard. Windrose will come out, destroy that back row. Had to do it for 4 monsters, 5 monsters no less. Come out, destroy the back row. It's another Cyberload Fusion. That's going to be another Rampage Dragon. But even if you were to destroy our Elemental Palace, we'd still be 2800, 1300. Be right on the cusp of finishing him off. He somehow destroys his own Cyberload Fusion and then just scoops, which makes my job easier, so I'll take it. Great stuff, guys. Alright, here we are facing a Crowler. Go in second. He's using, I think that's Koga. Koga's leaving map there. We show my monster cards. Handful of monsters. Molehue is one of them though, so it's going to be a pretty decent duel. We're fighting Ancient Gear, a straight up Ancient Gear. He's got a normal summon, Wyvern, Search, Reactor. We got Elemental Lords. Bring out our Molehue, flip that boy face down. That brings us up to 2100 anyway. We dump a Lapa. Instead of use Super Team Buddy Force Unite. It's probably going to be a Reactor Dragon, but we are flipping him face down regardless. Set our training. Swing over the Wyvern. He's going to use another Super Team Buddy Force Unite to bring the Wyvern out. That gives him a search of a Reactor Dragon. He does have the counters on his castle to normal summon it, so this is a pretty bad field for us. Luckily, our opponent doesn't know exactly what we do, so we're going to flip up our training after Molehue flips down one Reactor Dragon in the battle phase. Flip up our training. Remember, training will protect Palace from destruction. We use the training, get rid of the Molehue, bring out a Lapia at 2700 defense. Tries to destroy the Palace of the Elemental Lords. Does not work because we have a face-up Elemental training protecting it. So he had to aim the training, does not. We go Makini, guys. Makini can dump one, we dump our Malo, that's 5 in the graveyard. We search our Phosphorage. Malo changes to light, Nalu changes to light, Molehue changes to light. That's 5 light, we destroy all of them. Swing for a nice casual lethal. That was 2 Reactor Dragons, guys. Absolutely crazy stuff. Alright, here we are facing a My Valentine. Go in second. She's using Tristan's Sleeve and Mat, pretty random. Showing the Harpy's Hunting Ground usually means Black Wings. We got my monster cards. Got a Malo and a Lapa. Treacherous though, that alone will win you some duels. Second Lapa, not something we really needed, but Malo really gets us going. So he's able to discard a Nalu and a Lapa, destroy his Waxing Moon. We also have Treacherous. We had Treacherous, now it's Cosmic Cyclone. But we still have our Elemental Training, which will turn into a Molehue. And we have card in our hand to make the Molehue live. So it's just, what are we gonna hit with our Molehue? He's bringing out a Simoon. That means eventually we're gonna see a Squall. So as long as we hit one of Simoon or Squall, we're gonna lock up our opponent's field. He won't be able to do any Synchros, at least for this turn. So now he normal summons his Zephyros. That gives him another search of a Gale. So it's either Gale or Squall he's gonna go first with. He does go with the Squall. We're gonna hit him with the Molehue. He has to take another 1000, so plus that Cosmic Cyclone, he's taking 2000 bits of damage. Top deck another Mohu. Swing into the Zephyros. Swing into the Simoon. He's now left with the Squall. We're going to Elemental Training. Destroy that Squall with the Makini. So he's really fieldless. He does have a Gale in his hand. And Zephyros can hop right out with the field spell being returned to his hand. Bring out the Gale. Bring out 2 Gales. Lowers Mohu. Lowers Makini. Plays that Harpy's Hunting Ground once again. Goes to Raikiri. Raikiri's gonna try to destroy Elemental Training. We're gonna chain it. We get rid of our Makini to Aina in defense position. Swings at us with a little tiny Gale. Then has to swing at the Raikiri. We're in pure top deck mode, guys. How are we gonna win this? With Elemental Palace. So, or Palace of the Elemental Lords. Search that Mohu. That means Mohu's gonna be live. We could just straight up swing over the Raikiri. Now he's going to try to Cosmic Cyclone our Lord. That's perfectly fine. Gale swings over Mohu. Again, perfectly fine because we have a fat amount of cards in our graveyard, which means we're able to just top deck an Elemental Lord the old-fashioned way. We do have 3 in the deck. Destroy his Gale. Remember, we can't attack because we used Elemental Palace to search. He sets a monster. We get another Palace. We're going to use it to search, or we don't use it to search. We just hit Crack of Dawn. I don't think I actually have any Sabers left in the deck, honestly. So then we get Treacherous Trap Hole. He's in pure top deck. All we're doing is swinging over monsters with a 4K monster. Finally sets up back row. Top deck training. Like I said, we had no Sabers left in the deck, so we were just waiting to beat him at the top deck game, and we do exactly that. Great stuff, guys. Alright, here's Odeon. We're going first. It's using a Sphere Boy Mat and a Hikari sleeve. Pretty interesting combo. We're starting with 2 Lapis. Got our Palace of the Elemental Lords. That means we have a Negate, and we have Elemental Training. So we really have a Mohu. We have whatever we need. We're fighting Saddler Knights. He's starting with Deneb, searching Altair. Pretty core play. Sets 3 back row, also very core. We're going to Elemental Training in the battle phase. Mohu's gonna flip that boy face down for us. Throw away a Nalu. We already have 2 in our graveyard. We have another Lapa to normal summon. With all that back row, Lapa's gonna be really important because he can negate. So first goes with the Karma Cut. Clearly that's what we're gonna negate. Throw away our Malo. Now he's got a bad aim. Aim for Mohu. That just means we get to use training on the Mohu. Bring out our Makani. So that's 2 back row down. We lose nothing. Hit him for 1200. Pretty good turn. We also have another training, but it's not really doing much for us. Now he's going with the Altair normal summon. Goes with the Deneb. Does not do an XZ summon because with Altair only Saddler monsters could attack, so he just has to swing with a 1700. Obviously we're going to use training. We get a Mohu out over the Makini because we want the Lapia still live to stop that back row, and we just flip the Altair down. We're at 3100 and 1600 now. But we get our Phosphorage without a search, start changing everything to light, and the boy scoops. So couldn't really get off the ground for him there before we were able to even get an Elemental Lord out without even searching. So that just shows you how consistent this deck can still be. It still plays. Run those Treacherous. Treacherous is such a strong card on it. It's going to win you duels alone. Palace is going to win you duels alone. It's a solid deck, guys. From top to bottom, it's consistent, it plays, it's solid. Don't be shied away from your Sabers. They still play without Invoked. Invoked's just a crutch, guys. Invoked's just what's hot. So don't worry about it. Keep playing them, keep trying them out. Maybe, is there better Elemental Lords are missing? Although, I think the only one we really haven't seen is Water. So, see if that Water's pretty good. I don't know if the Water one's super great. I imagine it is, since we don't have it. But you guys tell me, so thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy.